Hello! Oh my gosh, look how gorgeous you are. I feel like I needed to prepare more. Heavens.
Gosh, thank you so much. This is such a wonderful opportunity to be here.
I am so excited to talk with you. So, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself in your title and just kind of tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, so my name is Vanessa Van Dyke. I am currently Miss Fulton County, USA. I'm going with the same title again for this year. Well, I will be competing in November, twice in 1 year. That's so crazy, right? Um, so I'm just really excited for that. And, I've been super busy lately with modeling. I went to Capitol Hill in March to speak with Congress about different advocacy topics that I really strive to make a change in the workforce and especially schools. So that was just such a great opportunity. I've also been able to judge different pageants. I judged National Imperial Miss and also Miss HBCU Teen, and many more are coming. So I'm just really excited.
Okay, that is so fun that you also get to be a judge.
Yes, it's so weird sitting on the opposite side of the table, and it's like, oh my God, I had no idea what this was like. All I wanted to really see was just someone be real and someone share their actual true story and not come in fake and, basically saying what they think that I want to hear, but it's just totally different, and it's very actually helpful being on the opposite end as well. So knowing I get to go into Miss Georgia USA in November, I get to understand kind of how the mindset works.
Okay, so how long ago was Miss Georgia USA 2022?
That was February. So literally only was it 6 months ago or 5 months? I can't remember. But it's super weird just competing twice in 1 year, and that never happened. So hopefully, I get to say it wasn't this year, but it was this year.
Can you imagine how confusing that would be?
I know. It's like, what?
So did they give a reason as to why it's the current title holders are gonna have a 10-month reign instead of a 12?
Yeah, so they're moving everything back to their original dates before COVID ever happened. So the reason why they changed it to February was because COVID really pushed back the dates and everything and kind of halted the whole process. But November was always the original dates for Miss Georgia USA. So this one would be November 17th through the 19th. So, hey, I'm super excited.
I was going to say, considering you're already probably 100% prepped still from February, you could probably compete tomorrow and be happy.
Yes, I already got my dress. I already got my, interview outfit. It's just, I'm always making sure that I prepare ahead of time so that I know what to expect. And I hate last minute things. I'm always stressed out about that. So I'm also getting my headshots done with Carlos Velez in July. Well, oh my God, it's this month. Yes.
You're like, wait a second. Hold on now. I mean, okay, it's only, let me see, the 7th. So you're only a week into July. So you still have the time to say, oh my gosh, this month.
Yes, this month. So literally on my birthday, I'm getting my photos done, which is really cool.
When's your birthday so we can send you happy birthday wishes?
July 25th.
That's what, Christmas in July?
Yeah, I think it would be really nice.
That sounds like a very fun birthday day. Okay,
Yes.
So first of all, massive congratulations for being first runner-up at Miss Georgia USA 2022. That's just an incredible feat in itself.
Thank you so much. It was very surreal. Like, I don't know if you saw the video of when me and Holly were holding hands. I literally told her, I was like, I love you. It was so crazy. And when they called the second runner-up, it was just me and Holly standing, and I looked at her like, it was surreal, and I was just happy to be in that moment with her holding hands like that, and just an incredible opportunity, really. I honestly thought, and this was so funny, I thought I did terrible in my interview, and I was like, I cried after my interview. I said, Mom, I did terrible. And I'm just like, I'm not going to place this year. Like, I'm really not. So I was just like, I'll just do the best I can tomorrow for prelims, and let's see what happens. But I was like, whoa, what? I must have not been that. So,
I guess that just goes to say never, and also never doubt yourself.
Yes, exactly. And always, like, what I would say as well is always be yourself, because during the interview, I also did my voice impression of Peppa Pig, an animal from Sesame Street, with the judge.
Your interview?
Yes, I did. And it was just like, honestly, I always had that thing in my head, like, always be yourself. Don't be, it sounds cliche, but it's very important to be yourself in any interview that you're in. It doesn't matter if they don't like you after that. At least you are saying your authentic self throughout everything. And that's what I'm proud of me being myself. So
I love that. So you talked about the fact that you were able to speak about going to Capitol Hill and talking about advocacy causes that are important to you. Can you expand on that for me?
Yeah, so I also did mention this in my interview as well. This was actually the month before I went to Capitol Hill. So I went to discuss the Crown Act, and I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's to protect women, Black women and Black girls, even Black men, from facing discrimination in the workforce and school. And since as a 12-year-old girl, I faced discrimination for my natural hair, my principal told me that I should cut or straighten my hair in order for the bullying to stop when I told her I was being bullied by my peers. Coming from that really made me want to inspire my community by doing more. And, that actually came with me getting a hair care line. And I'm the face of my company and everything. And it's just a wonderful experience. And also, just me going to Capitol Hill, being able to share my story and being able to be like, hey, this act is passed in the House, but it's not passed in the Senate yet. So this is what I need you guys to do, and I think you need to bring more people to share their stories, just to really push this act to the Senate and really get it on a federal level.
I love that. I was actually going to ask you about the Crown Act, since I believe it was yesterday was Crown Day.
Yeah, July 3rd.
Yes, or July 3rd?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Crown. I know people are still posting about it because it's technically still going on. So it's just really an important kind of week because it's, Essence Festival is having, stuff about the Crown Act. People are, speaking about it. So yeah, it's still going on.
That, or maybe I'm just confused as to what day it is because my brain's all scared.
I even forgot it was July.
There you go. We're all on the what month, day, year is it page. So did you compete with your natural hair?
I did, and it's absolutely crazy because I first competed for my first ever pageant for Miss Georgia Teen USA 2020. I wore my natural hair and I didn't place at all, and I thought, well, maybe it's because I'm wearing my natural hair, maybe because it's not really a thing in the pageant industry quite yet. But I later learned that just be determined and really just stay true to my authentic self, and that's all that I did, and I honestly don't regret any of that. So.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations for sticking up for not only yourself, but for others. I know that there are more and more stories coming forward like your own of individuals that were discriminated against or are still discriminated against because of just being their natural selves and wearing their natural hair and being the natural, beautiful human that they are. And it is absolutely essential that the Crown Act be passed because we need to continue to push forward for acceptance of who we are.
Exactly. And, I always hear, Vanessa, it's just hair. Why do you care so much about, passing this act or, just in general? And it's really important because, this is what grows out of our heads and we need to continue to stay true to that. And we cannot let anyone really convince us that we're not acceptable for society standards. And that's completely unacceptable. And especially me having to deal with that, I always, my self-esteem dropped when I faced that discrimination. So I understand how much it can have an impact on someone's life, especially an adolescent who is, still learning their identity at that age. So it's really important to teach these girls to love themselves, not only for their skin, but also their hair. And I think it's really important for me to be on that stage, staying true to myself, because it's also showing these little girls that they can be elegant with an afro.
I love that. Needs to be your tagline.
Yeah.
A t-shirt with that on it. I would happily rock that t-shirt.
You just gave me an idea. Thank you.
We love ideas. Woo! Okay, so you said that you have your own hair care line. First of all, that's freaking fantastic. Secondly, what are your natural hair care tips and where can we find your hair care products?
Ooh, so my natural hair care tips, first of all, always wear a bonnet when you go to sleep because it prevents breakage. So I wear a silk bonnet. It's a jumbo bonnet that you can find on Amazon, stuff like that. But to prevent breakage, and it's always going to help with hair growth and maintaining that growth. And I also, I always detangle my hair before I wash it as well with my hair care product Knot Dry. So it's a spray-on moisturizer and it's also a detangler, so it gets the knots right out. My hair is super tangled all the time considering how long it is, and it just really helps get those knots out. And I always deep condition my hair in the shower after I shampoo it. So we do have a product called My Two Cocos, which is a deep conditioner, and I also use Naughty Curl, which is a detangling wash. So it's a 2-in-1 detangling wash. After I get out of the shower, I wait about an hour or two for my hair to air dry, and then I diffuse it. So it is a long process, trust me, but it does help a lot because it helps with growth. So I really just, recommend maintaining and taking care of your hair if you really want healthy hair.
So this might be a silly question. I've been told I should use a diffuser because I have naturally wavy hair, but where in the heck does one get a diffuser?
So that's interesting because I had trouble finding one myself, and I actually found one at Sally's. It's a universal diffuser. So you can get a blow dryer like anywhere, but then find the separate diffuser head somewhere else. And that really helps because if you get a universal one, it'll fit on any single hair dryer.
All right, well, there's a Sally's like a mile away, so I know what I'm doing.
Yes, go to your Sally's and get one.
Okay, so finish this sentence for me. I want to be remembered
for my determination. I honestly, considering this story that I just shared with you, I want to make people know that they can always achieve their goals by being determined as I've been. I also didn't share this with you, but I was denied from my #1 choice school, which I now attend, which is Spelman College. And considering my determination, I was able to get in because I wrote a letter of appeal stating why I should be accepted in the Spelman, and that got me in. So I just want to say with that determination, keep going. It doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter how, you feel what other people think. Always just stay true to yourself and keep that determination going. You will eventually achieve those goals. And one thing I will say though, God won't put you in a spot he won't give you something that's not your time. Just like this year, I asked God, I prayed right before the preliminary competition. I said, God, if this is my time, please show me. But if I'm at least close to my goal, show me that too. And that was amazing confirmation. And I'm just grateful to have that sign. But just always be determined, especially me dealing with depression and dealing with self-esteem issues at 12 years old, but being able to accomplish so many things at such a young age. I'm only 20 and I'm about to be 21, but just being able to accomplish so many things coming from that traumatic situation, I was able to really just push through. And that's what I really would tell everyone listening.
My mind is blown that you only I'm over here I'm 27. I feel like you have 30 years worth of wisdom beyond me. So I'm speechless. Actually, somebody left a comment in our live saying, I've always admired your natural hair. I recently competed in a pageant, was afraid to wear my natural hair. I won't be afraid next time. I'm also a CAU grad.
See. Okay. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the comment. Thank you.
So as a pageant resource like ourselves, Beauty Queens Galore, what's something that you would like to see change or be updated from pageant resources and the pageant community?
Well, considering the USA system, Crystal Stewart has already implemented so many things with Pageantry Reimagined, her slogan. And, something that I really would love to continue and that she's already been doing is diversity, because we definitely needed that considering the changes that, we've experienced throughout the years. We've come a long way since, years ago in the pageant industry. Natural hair was not accepted. Darker skinned women were not being crowned, and it's just amazing to see that happening now. And I wish that it's going to continue to do so with Crystal Stewart as a director.
She is, like you said, like you are, a very determined individual, and so it is. She is implementing changes that I really appreciate, especially as myself. I'm not a size 0 or a size 2, and knowing that I see other bodies like myself.
Yes.
Age and other women that maybe don't have naturally curly hair, or like you that have naturally beautiful hair that I'm frequently jealous of because mine absolutely anything the heck it wants to. I think it's amazing to see the changes that are being pushed forward and individuals like yourself who continue to want to see it move forward.
Yes, I'm looking forward to what else she has in store, because she just started, so I'm already loving what she's doing in the pageant industry, and I just can't wait to see what else she does.
So when you heard, I was gonna say there is another, I don't know if you saw this, but it says my daughter will be wearing her curls from Miss Teen USA. Thanks love for bringing your true self.
And I believe she is Miss Nevada Teen USA, right? I think that's her daughter who she's talking about, because I do follow her on Instagram, and I absolutely, her daughter's beautiful. So
I just love her handle, Hot Mess Mommy in the City.
Right.
Gold right there. So, did competing come naturally to you?
Oh, no. I will say no. Because, I actually did watch Miss Universe 2015 where Steve Harvey messed up, and that was just the most, it really put Miss Universe on the map, but in a good way after that. So I watched Pia Wurtzbach win, and I thought she was absolutely stunning. I started, putting on earrings just like her, and putting my hair in a slick back bun like how she wore it, and I just thought she just embodied something that I wanted to be on this stage. But I was like, I don't think I have the confidence or the look to even go in the USA system, so I'm just going to put it aside. Then I watched Kaylee Garris win Miss Teen USA 2019, and Chesley Christ win Miss USA 2019. And I said, okay, that's it. I think I'm going to go for it. But Mom, can you give me some advice on how to do it? Because she was top 5 in Miss Ohio USA. So she was in the pageant industry, but she didn't push me to do it. And, I'm just grateful to have my own freedom and, just her support behind me. But she actually really did push me to be confident and, say, hey, this is all you have to do. Just apply to your local state title, competition, and the director will interview you. So I did that and got accepted for Miss Georgia Teen USA, and even though I didn't place, I still created so many bonds and such a great learning experience that I had to come back the next year for Miss Georgia USA, and then I placed top 15 that next year, then first runner-up this year. So it's amazing, and I'm grateful that I've had that support system from my mom and even my dad. I think he's on this call right now, but he's literally listening. But I just want to say thank you to my dad and also my mom, who was really supporting me throughout this whole thing. So,
what do you think is the biggest misconception people have about you?
That I'm stuck up. Yeah, I get that a lot. But once you get to know me, I'm actually the clown. I'm really the clown, and I'm very weird and quirky. So, yeah, so you understand. But I just think a lot of people who aren't in the pageant industry as well kind of have that misconception about people who are in the pageant industry, and also modeling. I model as well, so that's like, oh, stay back. So. But honestly, I'm just very funny, and I think, doing my voice impressions really got me far.
Okay, I can't get over the fact that you did a Peppa Pig impression. Now can you do it for us? I need
this. Hold on.
I like this. It's very grown up.
We are the multi-talented individual in our hands, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Wow. Well then. I'm just gonna see myself. Just kidding. That is so cool. Oh, I think this is your dad. You're welcome, sweetheart. I love you and couldn't be prouder. I love that your dad knows how to use Instagram and how to tune in on this. That just makes me happy. My dad's outside with a shovel right now. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah, he has a TikTok. So.
I love parents. They are the funniest things. So, do you believe, this might be a silly question, but do you believe in the first runner-up
stigma? So I have actually gotten a few comments about that, hey, don't get your hopes up, but next year might not be the time. It actually did kind of discourage me a little bit, because this was right after the pageant. But I've seen it happen where the first runner-up wins the next year. Just like how Eliza Greenberg, she was first runner-up the year before, but then she won Miss Georgia Teen USA. So, these things kind of happen, but at the same time, just keep going, because it literally took Deshauna Barber 6 years before she won even Miss USA. She went on to win Miss USA. But it just takes time, and if this is not the year, I'm not going to stress about it. I just know that I have accomplished something super big, which is being first runner-up. So all I can do really is just try my hardest and really just be bigger than I was this year. come together more prepared, you know, as much as I can possibly be. So, yeah.
I mean, honestly, this year, Miss Colorado USA that was crowned, she was first runner-up last year, and she took it this year. So it is, I think that's a bunch of hooey, the first runner-up curse. It's only a curse if you let it be.
Yeah, exactly. And all I can do is just be my best self. Just keep doing what I'm doing. And, you know, of course there are improvements. I'm not perfect at what I do. So what I'm doing right now is just focusing on interview, because that's one of the strongest, like, that's probably most scored. And, you know, just working on my walk, swimsuit, everything like that. So I'm just going to keep going no matter what. I still have 7 more years for eligibility.
Okay, so if you had advice that you could give your younger self who was maybe just starting out in competition that might translate to others that are looking to jump into the pageant world, what would you tell yourself?
I would say that's actually a tricky one. I would honestly say, even though I've said this before, be yourself. And I don't know if I could literally stress that enough. But keep going, be determined. Because after Miss Georgia Teen USA, I didn't want to keep going, to be honest. It took me some time for my mom to say, you need to do it again. But I was just not feeling it. I know it sounds so cliche, but always share your story, because you can be the one inspiring other children and any adult as well. You could be the one inspiring them to do something for their community. So I just honestly would say that to myself. And, you know, I see where it's got me today. I'm faced with so many opportunities, and, you know, I'm also hosting Miss Black USA with the red carpet event in August. And it's mind-blowing how I've been able to have these opportunities presented to me. So honestly, just keep going.
Where can we watch you host Miss Black USA?
That'll be aired on Fox Soul.
Putting that on my calendar later today, just to like watch the magical you, and also just see another group of amazing women do their thing. So I'm learning so much today. I'm so excited about it. So who inspires you?
Oh, wow. Okay. So other than my mom, I would definitely say, if I'm referring to in the pageant industry, I would say Deshauna Barber, Pia Wurzbach, definitely Chesley Christ, even though unfortunately she is no longer with us. But they really just inspired me to be myself, keep going, be determined. Deshauna Barber is a U.S. Army commander, a Black U.S. Army commander, winning Miss USA. Took her 7 times. And that is honestly an amazing accomplishment. And, you know, it just taught me, like, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks about you. You have your own journey that you're supposed to be on, and you're inspiring people like while you're on this journey. So I always looked at Pia Wurzbach, just like I said, since 2015. She just embodies this amazing, she's an elegant, fierce, accomplished woman that I aspire to be as well. Like, you know, but I'm just really inspired by them.
That's amazing. If you had to choose maybe somebody that wasn't in the pageant industry, who would it be?
Iman Hammam. She is a supermodel.
I love that answer.
Yeah, so she literally inspires me in the modeling industry. That's why I was confused. I was like, I don't know if I should say in the pageant industry or modeling. But Iman Hammam, she is a Moroccan Egyptian model. And she really she brings something to the table that's really unique. And she's not your, I wouldn't say typical model, but she has her own kind of unique style when she's on the runway. She's always on the runway modeling for Versace, Dior, everything like that. But she has her own kind of walk that's just really sassy. She's doing her own thing. And she honestly doesn't care what anyone else thinks about her. And she has big curly hair. I know in the modeling industry, it's been really hard for models to be a certain color and also have, you know, a certain hairstyle. Just like in the 90s, it was just, you know, you didn't see much diversity in that industry. So now it's really improving a lot, and she just really embodies that. And I really love to see her on Instagram and what she's doing on the runway. So
speaking of individuals that have, you know, textured hair or different looks, for an individual like yourself that has beautiful natural hair, what would you tell somebody that might have that same blessing when they say, I don't know how to style my hair, or I don't know how to prepare my hair for stage?
That's really interesting because I didn't either. I didn't know how to do my hair for stage, but what I do is kind of different for stage versus how I do it on a regular basis. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how I see myself on stage, and this is like, oh, okay, so this is how I should do it for this. But one thing I can't stress this enough: don't change your hair. Like, please, like, if that's not what you want, don't do it. But if you have a certain hairstyle that you want to go for, please go for it. But I mean, I wouldn't say that there's a certain way that you have to do it for curly hair girls, just because if you try to alter your appearance, if you try to alter your hairstyle, it's gonna, I don't know, like, it's just like if you try to alter your natural hair, then it's gonna be a different way. So there's not really something that you could do to change your natural hair. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, it absolutely does. And I was just thinking about the fact that oftentimes theaters have different temperatures and humidity settings, and I know for me that, you know, my wonky Irish hair, that even kind of changes the way that I it did its own thing today. I kind of give up. I was like, whatever, it works. But, you know, I know for me it changes kind of the way I style my hair because of the humidity and how cold it is in theaters. Is that kind of a similar, does it have a similar effect on those that have textured hair?
I would say it can, because I know for sure, I just thought of this when you were saying that. I would usually wash my hair the day before interview, because once it gets to day 4, it starts looking old, and I don't want to get on stage like that. So I'm just going to wash it the day before interview, so that way for preliminary competition, which is the next day, it's going to look even better. So yes, to your answer, it could, but it couldn't. It just really depends on the hair type and how your hair reacts to humidity and rain. I know it was raining, and I was so mad when it was Miss Georgia USA. I was so mad. Like, my hair just, like no kind of curl pattern was with it anymore. But it was, I mean, it still looked good, but like, it wasn't the way that I was like, oh man, the rain messed it up. So there is definitely something that, that does have a factor in it. So I would say yes to your question.
So kind of going back to being on stage, do you have a favorite area of competition, and why?
You're really going to be surprised because it's interview. It's so weird.
It makes sense, though. You pulled out the Peppa Pig.
I pulled out the Peppa Pig, and, it was definitely interview and evening gown. So evening gown is always, beside interview, it's my favorite portion of the competition, just because that's your chance to really express yourself with the judges, because, with swimsuit, you kind of have the same, swimsuit on, but a different color. So it's not really giving you the opportunity to express yourself freely. But with evening gown, oh yeah, you get to show your whole style, and, get to show the judges how you move in the gown and how confident you are. And I would just say pick the right gown, because that will affect how your confidence is. And, so those two are my favorite.
I love that interview is your favorite because you're very personable and you're very outgoing. So I could see that you would be able to sit down and probably talk with any judge and have them either laughing or fully engaged with what you're saying within seconds. So
yeah, I'm glad I was able to make them laugh too with the voice impressions, because I thought immediately after, I was like, oh my god, why did I do that? but I made them laugh, so that's a good thing.
It absolutely is. So
yeah.
At Georgia USA, what is the setup for interviews? I know it's kind of different per state. So what is it in Georgia?
So it is panel style. You stand up, you don't sit down, but you're on a podium. So you're basically speak to them like you're doing a speech, and it's really cool. Personally, I prefer sitting down in an interview, but it's fine. Like, it's really fine. But I really enjoy being personable with them on that level during interview. That's why it's my favorite, because I share my personality and my accomplishments, even though I have to narrow them all down in 2 minutes, which is, hey. But yes, so that's how that works.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so I know that you probably have a bajillion and a half gowns, or you've had, quite a few gowns to choose from. What has been your favorite?
So far, I would say my favorite gown was the one I wore this year. The white pie split gown, very simple. And I've learned that about myself. I really tend to go towards simple gowns. However, this year it's different. It will be a surprise once you watch it. But you know, that was my favorite gown because I got to move easily in it. I got to do my signature walk in it, and it was just, you know, I just love that simple look on me because my hair also just very like complements the simple look because I don't want to do too much. But yeah, that was my favorite gown, and I haven't sold it yet. It's still in my closet right next to me.
But you need to sell it. You also need to sell it.
Maybe I'll let go of it soon.
Me just being my sentimental self thinking I would never do that. But then again, that's me. Then I might be a slight hoarder. Anywho, so anyways, so if you had to give somebody advice, I know that when I started competing in the USA system, I thought that I had to go for a gown that was a specific style that was more USA look. Is that, I found that it doesn't matter. You need to dress for you. But what did you kind of experience when you first started competing versus where you're at now?
So my very first gown was from Goodwill. I didn't have a very, it was.
I love that.
And I didn't know what I was doing, but it's fine. You know, I would just say it is kind of true. Like there is a certain style for America versus USA or any other pageant system. However, you know, just like I've said before, just pick a gown that you resonate with the most, that you feel you're most confident in, because you're not going to work that gown that you're not confident in. I can guarantee you that because I've done it before. And you know, I would just say, don't go for a gown that's $1 million. Don't go for a gown that's like, you know, if that's what you want to do it. But you don't have to impress the judges with a, you know, $15,000 gown. You can, you know, literally just pick a gown that you feel most confident in, and that's honestly, that's what works, because they say that they're not, they are looking at the gown, but they're also looking at you, how you present yourself in it. So that's honestly what I think about. But yes, I do cater towards more USA look rather than Miss America look. So I usually do gravitate towards the universe look. I love Miss Universe dresses, how they do on Miss Universe. It's freaking great. But that's what I usually gravitate towards. So I guess there is a certain dress type for a certain system.
Yeah, I fully agree. The dress, I feel like the look or the feel for Miss America is very different than USA. And I know when I started competing for USA, I'd only ever done America, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Now I'm like, and I'm like, okay, good, I get it. But it can be a challenge.
Yeah, it really can, and it's also just about learning throughout the years. It doesn't even matter. Like, that's why I say I was depressed that I didn't make the top 15 my first time, but it gave me a different learning experience for next time. So I was able to look at, what the girls were wearing for these pageants. I was able to look at the Miss Division, the Teen Division, and say, oh, okay, so maybe I should try this next time. That time didn't quite work, but then I also gained more experience. So it's just honestly about keep watching that system that you want to be in, and then you'll get the best advice that you can through seeing different pictures and everything like that.
First of all, have you used a coach, and do you think that that's beneficial when it comes to finally getting on stage?
Oh, absolutely. I've only had a coach for interview, which is S&T Pageant Consulting Company. So shout out to them for helping me out. But I haven't had a coach for evening gown or swimsuit, just interview. And as of right now, I will gravitate towards it, but finances. Also, you do need sponsors for this kind of stuff, so I'm currently working on that right now. But yes, I do think coaching is very beneficial either way. I would not recommend going to USA and not have a coach, because they do put you with a coach either way. But I just had a coach for interview, and they really, really helped. And I've seen a tremendous improvement since the first time I competed without a coach. So what we did was just a mock interview, and they really just asked me questions that, were asked from the former pageants, especially top 5. So we did top 5 questions and the personal interview. So that helped so much. So I'm just glad I was able to come across them and, meet them.
You just mentioned that you're finding sponsors. I know that it can be a struggle for some women to want to go up, or even young ladies to go up and just randomly ask either companies that they do know or don't, hey, can you help? What would you tell them? Like, what pep talk do you give yourself when you start looking for sponsors?
I would just kind of gather all my information that's needed so that they know who they're sponsoring. I was just reading about this today as well because I literally just went to find a sponsor today. So I would just honestly gather all your information needed to show them who they're sponsoring, list all of your accomplishments, possibly what place you made if you competed before, and just really get them familiar with who you are and not just someone who's trying to get money from them because, that's just not the way to go. You also need to have a strategic plan. Just say, hey, this is what I would do after the pageant if I win. And you also would get amazing recognition in the program book as well if you sponsor me. That's also very important to list because half the time they're not going to do something for you if you're not going to do something for them back. That's just how it goes really in the business industry. So just make sure that you tell them what they're benefiting out of this and, what you can do for their company.
That is exactly, spot on. That is the perfect answer for that. Okay. Yeah. So to start kind of wrapping things up, I feel like I've probably grilled you way more than enough. Hey, it is more interview practice.
Yes, that.
All right. We're going to play this or that. Sneakers or stilettos?
You know what? I remember this question at Miss USA. They asked the same exact question. But I'm more of a stiletto girl. I just have to say that. But if I want to, put on some sneakers for a comfortable day, just go to Starbucks, I would do that too. But I feel like they can really intertwine with each other. If, you're feeling sneakers one day, but you want to put a dress on, that's completely fine because not everyone's the same. Not everyone's going to wear, stilettos. But for me, that's just my preference. I don't wear sneakers a lot, so.
I think I have like one pair of sneakers. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. Blush or bronzer?
Bronzer. Definitely bronzer. I have a baby face, so I love bronzer because it really contours my cheek.
You do not have a baby face.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. The fat cheeks.
Even my double chin says no. No. Natural brows or filled brows?
I would definitely, so for me, that can go both ways because when I'm on it for an audition for modeling, I would go for a more natural brow, but for pageants and, a special occasion, definitely filled. I do have some sparse brows, but I fill them in a little bit and that just gets the job done. So it could literally go both ways considering two industries I'm in.
It can probably vary a lot. Natural glam or full glam?
For me, that can also go both ways. Sometimes I'm not feeling a full glam because when I do a full glam, it makes me really tired. It takes about 2 hours just to do a full glam. But I'm an artist as well. I don't know if you know that, but it's kind of like art on my face. So it's really fun at the same time. So yes, full glam, it can be really good for some days, but also a natural glam is also a staple when you're just trying to go out, run some errands.
Red lipstick or nude?
Oh, that's a trick question because I do both. You see this right here. This is red. So clearly I'm red today, but nude was yesterday. So definitely, again, it could go two ways,
Long nails or short nails?
Short. I would just say short. I don't like the long nail look on me, and plus, it's easier to type with short nails, and also when I'm going to auditions, they love to see short nails. And you just don't have time to cut off your acrylics or tear them off. I've done it before and it hurts. I wouldn't recommend. 10 out of 10. 0 out of 0.
I'm laughing so hard I'm kicking things. All right, that's how today is going.
Yeah, so definitely short. I would say short.
I can't function. This is the longest I can go because beyond this, I can't function.
Can't stand long nails. She can't do anything with them. So it's just, yeah.
I don't have the coordination. I'm it's a good hairbrush tool, but
yeah,
I'm lost. Face mask or face scrub?
Face scrub. So I used to do face masks, but I tend to break out a lot when I do a face mask. So I just kind of stayed away from it. I used to do the Aztec, what is it? Clay, something clay. I forgot what it was. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I
Yeah.
used to do mixed with apple cider vinegar. It did help my face, but I broke out when I started using it again after I haven't used it for a long time, so that was stressful. So I just kind of gravitated towards, face scrub. I currently use the Tree Hut face scrub with turmeric. It's blueberry. It's like the new face scrub that they came out with, so it's really good. I like it. So yeah, I do well. So it's really good.
I'm gonna go shopping after this for a few different things. All right, last one. Pageants on the weekend or relaxing on the weekend?
Pageants on the weekend. I know I sound insane, but I never rest, and that's kind of unhealthy. But I I always tend to be up and about and doing stuff that's, going towards my career goals. So I would definitely say pageant on the weekends because I'm always filling myself with adrenaline, and that adrenaline rush is something that I need on the weekends. So
I feel that. Like
yeah.
on a very personal level, I get that.
After.
Well, is there anything that I did not ask or you did not get to say that you would like to share?
So there are a lot of things that I've been doing lately. I'm going to Miami in like 5 days for Miami Swim Week. I might be walking in that. Yeah, so crossed. I also I do a lot of photo shoots, so that's also really cool. I was featured in Ebony and Essence magazine when my story came out, so that was really cool that I got to be featured. And I also have my own holiday named after me called Vanessa Van Dyke Bring Out the Dolls Day on December 12th every year in Fulton County. So that is really cool.
Wait, now you got to explain that one.
Okay, so that's a whole nother story. So, I mean, it kind of does connect with my hair discrimination story. So, I also host an annual charity event called Bring Out the Dolls every single year around Christmas time. And this has been going on since 2013 after my hair story came out. So, a wonderful group of women came together and made this organization for children to be happy every Christmas by getting toys that are collected from this event. And I had the opportunity still to host this event, share my story, and just talk about confidence and self-esteem, because I feel like that's really important when it comes to these events. My very first Bring Out the Dolls was in Atlanta because it started to spread out to different states because it was originally founded in Orlando, and that's where I'm from as well. So it was founded in Orlando, went all the way to St. Petersburg, Africa, North Carolina, and Atlanta. And that's super cool because I got to host my very first Bring Out the Dolls Atlanta in 2019, and that's where I received the proclamation from the mayor of South Fulton County, Georgia, proclaiming that every year on December 12th would be Vanessa Van Dyke Bring Out the Dolls Day.
That is so cool.
Yes. So that is so exciting. It's really cool.
That's amazing. All right. Well, you're one of my new favorite people. I'm sure everyone else that watches this is going to think the exact same thing. You would just absolutely kick butt and look amazing while doing it. So
thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. If people want to continue to follow your journey, where can they follow you?
So you can continue to follow me on my Instagram. It's Vanessa Van Dyke, Vanessa Vandyke, and that is my main Instagram. And then my hair care line is Vanessa's Essence. It is VANESSASESSENCE.
Spelling is a lot.
It is.
Oh my goodness, you're freaking fantastic. Again, thank you so much. I can't wait for everyone else to see this, and I'm so excited to cheer you on in November.
Thank you. It was so great meeting you and talking with you today, and thank you to everyone that joined and listened to me. So I really appreciate talking to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.